So let's go back to this packaging image, and I would like to show you how the unwrapping works on a more complicated object. So here we have basically a cube, and let's go to Blender, and I have this cube here as well. And I think I have to flatten this a little bit like this. Okay. And maybe I'm going to select this edge and actually move this one out, and I try to just make it as long as this one side is tall, and I think that's roughly it. Okay, so this face I'm just going to delete because I had it rebuilt this way here. Okay, so if I, let's say, go to the UV editor and press unwrap, well, I get something like this, but looks a little bit crazy and not really usable. I also have the wrong image. So let's open this image here. And yeah, so how do I get now this box unwrapped in a way so that I can actually use it for the rendering? Well, there is a tool in Blender where you can mark edges as seams, and then think about it: when you unwrap them, you basically use digital scissors and cut it open. So what I have to do in this case, for example, is this face is, for example, going to be this one up here, and this face could be the left one or the right one. So you see that I have kind of like a line along here, so that means that if I select those edges and then I press Ctrl E and go to mark seam, or you find this also in mesh, edges, mark seam, clear seam, for example, undo it, then you see that those lines are marked red. If I now select everything again and press U, you see how it's unwrapped. And then I can maybe rotate it 90 degrees, maybe move it to there. And yeah, well, my box is a little bit out of proportion. So for example, to easily fix this, I can move this one up a little bit, and I think this one has to go this way a little bit. Unwrap again. Rotate 90 degrees, rotate 90. Well, okay, I guess I have to do a little bit of trickery here. So what I'm doing right now is not necessarily the best way. Your geometry, of course, should fit the dimension of your image. So I'm selecting those points, and then with G to move, and then Y, I move those points along either X or Y. So you see inside the node editor or the UV editor, the commands are all the same, like in edit mode when you're in mesh modeling. So S and X, see, I scale them along the X-axis away from each other. Okay, let's assume this is okay. Then this box again, I would need to give a material. So I need a texture input. I need a texture, in this case an image. Go to the UV, select my pattern, and then this color goes into diffuse. And then if I go to material, you see this material is now being perfectly put over my box. And then if I hit render, you can see now that this texture is put over my box. So that's a concept of UV unwrapping more complicated objects where you can mark seams and then unfold the geometry and then put it over, kind of like in this case, a pre-existing texture. And in the next video, I'll show you then how we use the unwrapped mesh to create a texture in Photoshop and then put it back onto it.